Motivation. When asked what motivates us in the workplace, many of us would be tempted to say things like a big paycheck or a swanky corner office, or perhaps winning lots of awards and being famous. After all, who wouldn't want those things? But what happens when you get that big paycheck or corner office or your name on company letterhead, only to discover you're just not happy or motivated in your job anymore? The simple fact is that it often takes more than fame and fortune to keep us motivated. There is often a huge misconception surrounding the reasons that motivate us. People often assume that large incentives would act as a motivator. However, more often than not, these extrinsic motivators might end up actually stifling ingenuity and creativity. What really motivates us in the workplace, according to science, is whether or not the work we do fulfills our intrinsic aspirations. The pursuit of intrinsic aspirations, such as personal growth, achieving our creative potential, having satisfying relationships, and contributing something meaningful to the world, satisfies our basic psychological needs. These basic psychological needs fall under three main elements: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Together, these three elements make up what we call self-determination theory, the ultimate theory of human motivation. Now that you've read about the theory, along with the different types of motivation, you might be asking yourself, well, that's all well and good, but how can I make sure that my career fulfills all three of these things? Let's take a look at what each of these three elements looks like in the workplace. Autonomy. So think about a previous or maybe your current job that you've had where you didn't just have much say or choice in how you got to do that job. Perhaps you worked under strict rules or had a boss who micromanaged your work. Chances are, if you had a choice, you'd rather not work under those kinds of conditions. Most of us want to have a sense of autonomy in the workplace, the ability to have some say in the decisions that affect us. When looking at potential jobs, think about how the company's culture lines up with your desire for autonomy. If a stringent work atmosphere tends to stifle your creativity and motivation, be sure to look for companies that give their employees some autonomy when it comes to work conditions. Competence. As creative professionals, most of us don't need much motivation when it comes to perfecting our craft. We could already spend hours writing stories, designing characters, editing footage, writing code, recording music, or creating animations. We naturally want to be competent at our craft. That same desire carries over into the workplace. We want to be given the opportunity to grow and improve at our craft, even if we make mistakes along the way. We want to be able to take on new projects and learning experiences, and that can only happen if the company culture encourages and fosters that. Be sure to search for companies that provide their employees with growth opportunities, whether that's mentoring newer workers or giving people the chance to pitch their own ideas for new projects. Relatedness. Relationships matter, not just in our personal lives, but in our work lives as well. Think about a job you had where you weren't a fan of the work itself, or maybe even your boss, but your coworkers were the ones who made the job bearable. Maybe you even hung out after work and commiserated about your experiences together. Sometimes it's the people we're around that make all the difference. If connection matters to you, think about what that looks like in your career or your industry. Do you prefer a job where you work regularly as part of a team? Hint, that's nearly all jobs. If so, you might not be happy working solo from home on a regular basis. Some of us crave connection in the workplace, so make sure the job you're seeking aligns with your expectations. Now that we've covered the basics of motivation, start thinking about how you can apply these ideas in your personal and professional lives, and with a little luck, you may even land that fancy corner office.